Have you felt uninspired? Maybe you've lived in the same town your entire life and just feel stuck? Well, then it might be time to join the 56% of Americans who plan on moving this year. Now, since 2020 made many jobs remote, a lot of those people are actually moving out of metropolises to smaller, less crowded places. But not everyone. In fact, over 82% of Americans still live in cities, and a lot of the cities on this list are growing fast. So even with the obvious problems to big city life, such as traffic, homelessness, crime, and a more expensive cost of living, many people still want to push their comfort zones, chase their dreams, and move to a big city. And considering the wide array of culture, diversity, amenities, and incredible opportunities that most big cities offer, I can't blame them. If you're new around here, the criteria we use to determine a city's true size is big cities have metro populations over 3 million residents, medium-sized cities have metro populations between 1.5 to 3 million, and then small cities have metro populations between 500,000 and 1.5 million. And we ranked each metropolis according to their economy, safety, cost of living, schools, amenities, and overall quality of life. Here are the top 10 best big cities to live in for 2021. And let's hit 5,000 likes for a video on the 10 best medium cities. Number 10. Atlanta, Georgia. It's no wonder Atlanta has the busiest airport in the world because the economy is booming with 75% of Fortune 1000 companies having at least some presence in the city. And because of the incredibly diverse job market with so many good paying jobs in fintech, biotech, logistics, advanced manufacturing, and the #1 film industry in the world, young professionals are flocking to the city like bees to honey. Except the honey is money with an oh so sweet median household income of $72,000. Combine that with an even sweeter median home cost of just $313,000, and it's easy to see why the metro population increases by 1.25% every year. Of course, though, all that buzz is bound to attract some killer bees too, as unfortunately the violent crime rate is 103% above the national average, which probably has something to do with the 20.8% poverty rate. But on the bright side, it's easy to live in a nice affordable home away from danger, since Atlanta's one of the most sprawling metros in the nation, spanning nearly 8,400 square miles. Now this could be both a positive and a negative, as there are a ton of unique neighborhoods and cities in the area offering something for pretty much every lifestyle. But it also means you'll need to drive long distances to get anywhere, and Atlanta has terrible traffic. Number 9. New York, New York. Ignore the haters, because the largest US city is also one of the best.
Oh yeah? Then why did 60,000 people leave the metro area last year?
Well, that was mostly due to the pandemic making people feel trapped in their 300 square foot apartments. But as life slowly gets back to normal, New York will get back to offering way more amenities than any other city, while still being one of the safest cities. The hundreds of diverse and walkable neighborhoods are each so unique, almost feeling like entirely different worlds just blocks away from each other. And with over 1,500 art galleries and museums, world-class restaurants and nightlife, high-end shopping, Broadway shows, 11 pro sports teams, and concerts featuring pretty much every musician to have ever lived, there's always so much going on. And I haven't even mentioned the economy. The median household income is $83,000, and there are so many good-paying jobs in literally every industry you could imagine. Of course, though, all this comes with a price. Taxes are high, the median home cost is $652,000, and you won't be able to find a studio apartment for under $2,000 a month. But hey, at least it's cheaper than our next city. Number 8, San Francisco, California. Before you comment,
wait, what? San Francisco's a piece of poop! Like literally, there's poop on the streets!
Yes, San Francisco has its problems, ranging between terrible traffic, crime, homelessness, and hard to find parking. Not to mention, it's the most expensive US city. But if it was actually a piece of poop, 4.74 million people probably wouldn't pay the $1.415 million median home costs just to live in the area. They do, because the pros outweigh the cons. San Francisco has so many great jobs, leading to an incredibly high median household income of $115,000. And that number continues to grow by 4.4% each year. Because of this, the poverty rate's actually the lowest of any big city at just 10.3%. And since California's weather's really nice year-round, there's plenty of opportunity to explore the gorgeous and diverse surrounding nature. But if you only wear Patagonia to blend in with the locals, and outdoor activities aren't actually your thing, then the incredible bars, restaurants, arts, and culture spread throughout the dozens of unique and walkable neighborhoods will probably keep you entertained. Add in the fact that home prices are actually declining, and San Francisco hasn't been this desirable of a place to live in for a long time. Number 7. Dallas, Texas. While San Francisco is the most expensive city to live in America, Dallas is one of the most affordable. Although it probably won't be for much longer, as the metro population has grown by 22% over the past decade and still continues to grow by 1.55% each year. So if you're planning to move, you better do it soon while the median home value is still just $248,000. But as more and more people relocate here, more and more companies do too. Dallas has one of the fastest growing job markets, with 22 Fortune 500 companies currently headquartered here. And since Texas is very business friendly with no state corporate or personal income tax, many more are likely to follow. But although the unemployment rate is just 6.5% and the median household income of $72,300 is high compared to the cheap cost of living, 18.9% of the population still lives in poverty, which has resulted in a violent crime rate that's 127% above the national average. At least Dallas is one of the cleanest cities, though, and there are tons of attractions, such as the nation's largest arts district, pro sports teams in all 5 major sports, and an array of hip cafes, restaurants, bars, museums, shops, parks, and music venues throughout the many neighborhoods. Number 6. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Most people move to Minneapolis for the same reasons they moved to Dallas: affordability and jobs. Although Minneapolis's job market has had a bit more time to mature than the recently booming economy of Dallas, and thus is much more diversified with the highest concentration of Fortune 500 companies of any city. There are so many good jobs in the finance, tech, healthcare, advanced manufacturing, renewable energy, and biomedical industries, leading to a median household income of $83,700, which continues to grow by 4.2% each year. This makes the median home value of just $311,000 really affordable. Although considering temperatures regularly drop below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, there probably wouldn't be many people willing to pay more. But when it isn't negative 40 with the wind chill, the Twin Cities have beautiful summers and offer so much to do. With great farm-to-table restaurants, a thriving art scene, teams in all 5 major pro sports, beautiful nature, and the best park system of any metropolis, including over 120 miles worth of bike paths, it's no wonder nearly 30,000 new residents move here every year. There is a big division between the affluent and poor areas, however, as the poverty rate is 19.1% and the violent crime rate is 144% above the national average. So despite it being the cleanest US city, Minneapolis still needs to clean up its act. Number 5. Tampa, Florida. If you're looking for somewhere a tad bit warmer, not to mention much safer, with a crime rate 18% below the national average, why not add yourself to the nearly 50,000 new residents who move to the Tampa Bay area each year? Well, I'll tell you why not. Jobs. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of jobs here with an unemployment rate of just 4.6% and a growing economy as tons of young professionals and entrepreneurs are moving here. But just like with most of Florida, wages are much lower than they would be for the same job in other cities. So unless you're a retiree, the median household income of just $57,900 could be an issue. I mean, it already is for the 18.6% of residents who live below the poverty line, despite there being no state income tax and a median home cost of just $286,000. But hey, at least there's great weather, beautiful beaches, and so many fun things to do in both Tampa and nearby St. Petersburg, with tons of art, museums, live music, professional sports, hip restaurants and bars, and even multiple theme parks. Number 4. Denver, Colorado. If you thought Tampa was a hotspot for millennials, wait until you get a load of Denver, where 2/3 of residents are under the age of 44. And since the population continues to grow by 1.5% each year, despite having already grown by 24% over the past decade, if you're even thinking about it, I'd move here ASAP because the median home cost of $505,000 isn't getting any cheaper. But if you do give in to the allure of panoramic mountain views, endless outdoor recreation, hip city amenities, and being able to catch a show at Red Rocks Amphitheater, be warned that you'll probably never want to leave. And why would anyone? Not only is Denver fun and surrounded by beautiful nature, it's also got one of the best economies with the median household income at a whopping $85,700, which still increases by nearly 6% each year. Tons of new companies also want to relocate here due to Denver's highly educated workforce and business-friendly environment, so the already low poverty rate of just 12.9% will likely only go lower. Number 3. San Diego, California. From one famously casual city to another, except instead of 14,000 footers, you're at sea level with beautiful beaches and some of the best waves on the mainland. But besides the palm trees, warm temperatures, and nearly 270 sunny days a year, San Diego doesn't really feel like it's in California. While the Golden State has plenty of problems, San Diego doesn't really. Sure, there's homelessness and traffic, but neither are anywhere near as bad as in LA or San Francisco. It's much cleaner too, and unlike the other Californian cities, San Diego is incredibly safe. There's also so much to do with tons of good restaurants, great nightlife in the Gaslamp Quarter, 17 museums throughout Balboa Park, and pretty much every type of outdoor recreation you can imagine. But that doesn't mean San Diego's perfect. The unemployment rate has skyrocketed to 8.5%, and the cost of living, while cheaper than most other Californian cities, is still ridiculously high with a median home value of $755,000. Sure, there also are good jobs with a median household income around $84,000, but your options are also much more limited than they would be in the Bay or LA. Number 2. Boston, Massachusetts. Boston is my hometown, so it'll always have a soft spot in my heart. But even I was surprised at just how amazing of a place to live in it truly is. Although often overlooked for other flashier or faster growing metropolises, Beantown is probably the most historic city in this country, with so much of our nation's founding up to the revolution taking place here. And the city's done a great job of mixing the old with the new, as while there are tons of historical buildings, markers, and sites, Boston's also one of the few places in the US that feels like a real cosmopolitan city, with lots of amenities, great walkability and public transportation, a beautiful modern skyline, gorgeous surrounding nature and parks, so much culture, and of course, jobs. So many innovative companies are based here due to the suburbs having the best schools in the nation and there being some of the best universities right across the river in Cambridge. Biotech, engineering, education, finance, medicine, and robotech are just a few of the many cutting-edge job opportunities, leading to a median household income of $95,000. All things considered, the high cost of living with a median home value of $666,000 is worth it for most, especially since Boston's one of the safest major cities. But if you hate the cold or shoveling, just know that temperatures regularly drop to the single digits Fahrenheit, and there's over 4 feet of annual snow. Now, before we get to number 1, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and let me know what video you want to see next. But without further ado, number 1, Seattle, Washington. You might be surprised that Seattle took home the number 1 spot this year, but aside from the lack of sunshine and expensive cost of living with a median home value of $816,000, there just aren't many negatives about the place.
Oh yeah, well it's swarming with homelessness and Antifa, and it's a liberal heckhole!
Well, maybe it's because I'm used to cities like LA or San Francisco, which actually are dirty and have huge homeless populations, but everything people say about Seattle Seattle is really blown out of proportion. Well, besides the traffic. That really is bad. The economy is amazing, however, with a median household income of nearly $103,000. Add no state income tax on top of that, and the high home prices are actually pretty affordable for most, with just 11% of the population living in poverty. And with legit big city amenities, tons of fun neighborhoods, and some of the most beautiful and unique surrounding nature, Seattle is the best big city to live in for 2021.